What's up, YouTube? It's Mike here, back with another video. If you're new to the channel, thank you for stopping in. If you like these kind of videos, please don't forget to like the video and ring the notification bell for notifications on the channel, and subscribe to the channel. Doesn't cost you anything, and you can always unsubscribe in the future if you don't like this kind of content. Figured I would do a little bit of an update on the 1500 gallon. Now that it's been running successfully for like a month or so, I figured we'd take a look at the stock, and I've added a couple of things since the last update, I think, so we can check that out. Also, I wanted to do an update on 300 gallon behind me here, because that's been running for a week now, and I figured I would go through the good, the bad, and the ugly of what's happened. So the 300 1-week update. For the most part, everything is going really well. I know a lot of people had expressed some concern about adding the convicts to here and their aggression problems. They're well known to be very aggressive, and that is the reason why I kept the convicts alone for so long, because I know how aggressive they are. But I wanted to give it a shot, and so far so good. So it's been, like I said, a week. I haven't seen any real aggression or them beating up on any of the other fish. However, what I did notice is at least a couple of the convicts have broke out into some kind of bacterial or fungal infection since moving them over. So I assume the stress triggered something of some sort. So what I did was I started treating the tank a couple days ago, and we're going to try to work through that. Hopefully it doesn't become too big of an issue, but I've seen similar infections like this, and I have been able to treat them. There are certainly worse bacterial infections that I feel are not treatable, but this one, you can see it on this one right here, the top of the fins there. I've seen that before and been able to treat that. So there is a handful of convicts I'm seeing that on. So we're going to do our best to get through that. But other than that, I think everything is looking pretty good. So I'm going to keep up on water changes here, and I'm going to keep dosing with a medication to try to fix that. And usually I would treat with salt for something like this, but I got a black ghost knife in here and a few plecos, and I just would like to avoid salt if possible in this tank, although I may end up adding salt anyway, at least on a low dose. But what I did use so far is sulfaplex, which I've had great luck with bacterial infections. And I also use, this is Pond Microbe Lift. This was recommended to me by Ohio Fish Rescue a while back. So I'm going to give it a shot on this tank and see how that goes. Again, salt would usually be my go-to for something like this, but we'll see how it goes. Luckily, everything's still eating, so I'm not too worried just yet. Something else I had a problem with is I came down the other day and I had a bad leak from the sump. I was in a rush when I was setting this up, and I know it looks like a disaster, but I was setting this sump up just to try to get it running, and I really did not take the necessary precautions to make sure that it would not overflow, and it clogged up and overflowed, and it was spewing water everywhere. I came down and I had lost a substantial amount of water. So what I did temporarily, again, because I've been rushing around a lot lately, is I just put up some walls around it, so that way if it does clog up and overflow again, the water will just fall back down into the sump and not overflow onto the floor on me. So yeah, a couple annoying problems, but I still love the way the tank looks. It's got quite a tint to it from all of the driftwood, and I expected that. It will be time to do another water change on that actually today. So especially because of the medication, I got to keep up with the water changes. So I'll do a water change on this today, and hopefully we will not have any problems. We can fight off that fungal infection or bacterial infection that we're dealing with the convicts. Out of all problems that I have with sicknesses, bacterial infections are by far the worst. I feel that I have more problems with that than like any kind of internal parasites or external parasites. Rarely have an ick problem. I've pretty much never had an ick problem that I wasn't able to treat either. So it's really just bacterial infections and that's due to stress and injuries, and these things are always present in the water column, and we just don't see them, we don't notice them until it's too late, unfortunately. So I've had a lot of problems with that over the years, constantly fighting that, constantly trying to keep the stress levels down. Some I feel are impossible to treat, and some we are successful with. It really just depends on how healthy the fish is. So the healthier the fish, the more likely you are to beat it, and the quicker you catch it, the better, obviously. But the 1500, everything is going really well in the 1500. As you can see, everything is responding and looking to eat right now. And as I've said in a previous video, this is not the greatest tank for viewing rays. It's very unfortunate. I chose this to be a ray tank, and you can't see them a lot of times. And that's because there's a decently tall lip here. It's over 6 inches, so you kind of lose a little bit of ray viewing here. But regardless, I do still love the tank. It's a great success. I've had 0 issues since putting fish in it. Something that did go wrong, it actually went wrong the first week, was I lost my last silver arowana. Now, you guys who have been following me a while know that I lost a bunch of silver arowanas this past year. I've had extremely bad success with arowanas, and I don't know what happened, because the first 2 days that arowana ate, and then the third day I found it laying on the bottom. It had no injuries, nothing, and it was still alive, but it died about an hour after I found it laying on the bottom. So no injuries, no visible signs of hurting itself or spooking or getting attacked, but it died. So I don't know what is going on with my bad arowana luck, but I figured I would mention that to you guys. I've now lost all of my arowanas, which is extremely disappointing, because they are one of my favorite fish. And yeah, I just cannot seem to keep them alive. So I'm not going to try again for a while. Maybe next summer I might try to grow out some. And I have an experiment I want to do with growing them out, and maybe you guys will see that come along next summer. But for now, I'm not going to push my luck any further. Obviously, there's something going on. Maybe it's a bacterial infection also, but it's not showing any visible signs on the body. Other than that, really bad news. I added my short body red-tailed cat in here, and if I fed, you would certainly see him come out. I'm not sure where he is right now. And there was a couple of worries I had with doing that. I was worried about the other 2 catfish, the tigrinus and my hybrid ripsaw here. I was worried about aggression with the 3 of them, and there has not been any. They just lay next to each other and chill. The only problem with the little short body RTC, if we can find him in here, is he eats a lot faster than everything else. He will outcompete every ray, and then he blows up like a balloon full of food. So I think I'm going to have to pull him back out of here, as much as I love having him in here. So that kind of sucks. It's a little disappointing. The other thing I may have never mentioned is I added this little Leo hybrid stingray here to this tank. He was with all of the other rays in the 300 before. I was a little worried when I first moved everything in here that he'd be a little too small, especially for this guy. But I decided to go for it because he was a little too big for the pups up there. And for some reason their light isn't on. I'll have to turn that on. But he's done great in here. He's been in here for weeks now, and I'm glad I moved him over to here. It makes more sense to have him in here. I think his growth rate will be better in here. But everything else is doing really good. These gar have been doing awesome. The clown knife has been doing good. Yeah, everything has been looking great, begging for food, eating really well. The rays all look fantastic. Their patterns have really popped since being in here, probably because of the lighter color. And she just looks phenomenal as always. I feel like they look bigger already, and I don't know, that might just be the glass kind of magnifying them a little bit, or maybe they had a slight growth spurt in the past month of being in here. But it's pretty cool. I'm really excited about that. It's nice to give them the space that they deserve. I am interested in getting you guys' opinion on possible scaping ideas for the 1500. I've got a ton of comments about it being bare, and people hate bare tanks. I understand that. I'm not a huge fan of bare tanks either, but I know that there are a lot of benefits to keeping bare tanks, and that's why I do it. But I am considering adding substrate and some decorations. Now, it's a very tall tank. It's filled with over 40 inches of water, about 42 inches of water, and the tank itself is 53 inches total. So, very tall tank, difficult to escape, and then we obviously have a bunch of fish in here that will not allow live plants to survive. So, live plants are out of the question. Gravel is out of the question because we have rays. We really need to have a sand substrate if we add any substrate. However, there are still, I mean, do we do a hardscape? What do you guys think? You know, just rocks, driftwood, and sand. That might be the best option, something like that. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below, what you guys would do with the tank. I want to know what you guys would do. Forget the stock, because I know a bunch of people are going to say, oh, you know, I'd fill it with cichlids or smaller cichlids, or I'd fill it with angelfish, or whatever you guys would do. Forget that. You know what's in it. What would you guys think for decorating ideas to make it look a little bit more like an aquarium, a little bit more like a natural scape kind of thing, even if it's just a hardscape, if we can improve it. I've talked about this in videos before. I know that the rays are certainly going to move the sand around. There's nothing we can do about that, but even if we can get a nice layer down there, they're going to move it in some spots. It would be nice to see some sand on the bottom. So yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your suggestions on scaping ideas, because I do get the comment so often. And in the 1100, we have pumps on the floor of this tank. So for the most part, substrate is out of the question, and I'm doing a small water change here. But I was originally going to put pumps on the floor of the 1500 gallon, just like that, because it keeps it simple. I wouldn't have had to drill it. But I changed my mind, and I ended up adding my intakes quite high up. Now, I don't have any debris that really settles on the bottom because of the rays, so this kind of has worked out for me. I'm glad I did it this way. And also, one of the reasons I did it is because I had sand in mind for this tank. So those are over 2 feet up off of the floor of the tank. They're very high up. So it will limit the amount of sand that gets sucked up into those, and it makes it so I can actually add substrate to this tank. If I ever want to do that in the 1100, it's not impossible. I can raise the pumps up possibly, but for now I'm going to keep it the way it is. So for here, we can definitely do sand. Let's start with that, and maybe some rocks, and I don't know, we'll see what else you guys recommend. Also, another pickup I wanted to show you guys is I got an Ultima 2000, another canister filter here. I got it used from a local, and I got a really, really good deal on it. I couldn't pass that up, because these are expensive canister filters. As you guys know, I run one on the 1500 back there. That's a 4000, Ultima 4000 on this setup. So the 2000 I'm going to add to the 1100 here, and eventually when the 600 gallon goes here, I'll run it on the 600. So it'll be additional filtration for this entire system, which will be close to 2,000 gallons when all is said and done, which I think is going to be awesome. So nice little pickup here, and I'll be doing the plumbing on this very shortly. I'll show that maybe in the next video or something, doing the plumbing for this Ultima 2000. And I'm just going to do, I think, an over-the-top intake and return for this temporarily. Again, something really, really simple to get it running, to get it to start cycling. Add additional filtration to this tank for now, and then it'll be good to go when we add the 600. And I've been running these FX6s on the 1500 for a while now. They've been cycled for a very long time, and they helped make sure that I didn't have any problems with this tank when I first set it up and got that brand new Ultima 4000 running. So I've still got these that I can throw on. I can throw those on any new tank. I can also throw them on the 600 or anything I need to, but for now I'm going to keep them over here. So lots of filtration and lots of upgrades going on. But that is pretty much it for this video, guys. Please, again, let me know in the comments below what you think about scaping that 1500. Give me some good ideas. I really want to hear them. I'm not too into scaping tanks, and again, I've talked about it so much, and I get a lot of comments about it, but let's do it. Let's get some ideas together and scape the 1500 gallon. I think that it would be, it would really set it over the top to put some decorations in that. But again, thank you guys as always for watching. Please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you in that next video.